Hey, my lovely goal-getters. Welcome to the Moms Making Money Show. I'm your host, Amie Pederson, business mentor and confidence coach for the emerging boss mom. It's my mission to help amazing women just like you up-level yourself and your business because you are meant for more than wiping boogers and folding laundry. I'm also a wife, mother, urban farmer, influencer, green juice enthusiast, and an unapologetic lover of cowboy boots. I can't wait to help you grow your business by sharing my tips, tricks, proven business strategy, experience, and incredible guests. Hang on tight and enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by ButcherBox. This is an amazing service of being able to skip the store and spend more time on what's really important, our families. This is a company that I use to get my meat delivered, free delivery, right to my front door. Every single box that I get every month is made specifically based on my customization. I get to pick everything that goes in there. And I get to do so confidently knowing that 100% of my animal protein is coming from 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, heritage breed pork, and free-range organic chicken. All of it is amazing. I also love knowing that none of these animals are ever given hormones or antibiotics. I love that they have partnered with small farms and that they're able to deliver this meat to us for less than $6 a meal. Plus, it's always free shipping. And the way that they're able to save us money is because they're skipping the middleman. They're skipping the store. So all of that markup that we typically see on grass-fed and grass-finished products and organic chicken and sustainably raised meat and animal proteins, all of that has been removed because everything comes straight from them to your front door. And it's super important to me as an animal lover, as somebody who lives on a little mini farm myself, that all of these animal proteins have been naturally and responsibly raised and fed. This is a huge deal for me, but it also makes the quality of the meat so much better. We get tons and tons of compliments every time we prepare a meal for somebody else, as well as just loving it ourselves. We've used ButcherBox for our Thanksgiving turkey, as well as the prime rib for Christmas, and we just love it. So if you want to give it a try, use coupon code AP10, like Amie Pederson 10, and they'll give you $10 off your first box, as well as they'll give you a free package of bacon in your order. All right, everybody. I have the one and only Rachel Ricker here. She is the founder of Smell Sweet Company. So I wanted to make sure I said that right because earlier I totally got it backwards. But, and what this is an all-natural, USDA certified, organic, cruelty-free, made in America deodorant. And so one of the reasons that I knew I just had to have Rachel on the show is because aluminum-free deodorant has kind of been like my jam for, I don't know, the last 4 years or so, basically since becoming a mom. And, you know, for me, it's kind of close to my heart because I know that, you know, from studying holistic health and nutrition and everything, I know that aluminum and some of these parabens and some of the other stuff, aluminum being a major contributor to things like breast cancer and other things, and having loved ones who have been fighting and some who have lost their battle with breast cancer, this is something that's definitely top of mind and highly important to me. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Rachel. Tell us a little bit about your journey to starting up this incredible company and this incredible product, and what made you decide to go all in?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And, you know, you hit the nail on the head with some of the reasons why I started, especially coming more of an expert on ingredients and what is good for you and what is not, has definitely helped me on this journey to help other women make informed decisions. So I'll get to that in a little bit, but you just hit it on hit the nail on the head. So I love it. But yeah, do you want me to start like, back in like, where do you want me to begin? I have lots of stories.
You just start with whatever gave you the first inkling of entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Absolutely. So I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit. I actually attended a leading entrepreneurial college here on the East Coast, where as a freshman, we actually run our own businesses. It's called FME, or Foundational Management Experience. So we're in this big class, it's split up, and we're actually challenged to come up with business ideas, develop a business plan. We vote on the business our team's going to run, and then we execute. So each business had the general corporate organizational structure. So you have a CEO, HR department, legal, finance, ops, so forth. And you legit run a business at 18 years old.
Nice.
Obviously, yeah, you're just thrown in it, Amie, but obviously, with your professors there to guide you. But it's still sink or swim moment. And it was definitely my beginnings of like, holy crap, very stressful. And I remember calling my brother being like, crying and being like, I can't do it. I still do that sometimes, actually, to this day, call him up. Maybe that's just my personality, but the experience itself, just being thrown into it, again, with the guidance of our professors, but being thrown in and just learning about all aspects of business definitely shaped me. So our business, when I was 18, was called Fuzzy Wraps, which provided small fleece blankets, like in many colors and personalized with your school or name of choice. And this was like 18, 19 years ago, before Etsy. So actually, thinking back on it, it was relatively unique at the time. I should have ran with it then, right? But we ended up, I think, coming in either second or third in gross profitability out of all the FME businesses. And it really clicked for me. Like, if Fuzzy Wraps can drive this amount of sales with 18-year-olds who know nothing about business, just think of what else can really, be great in this market, or just great entrepreneurial wise, and in the business world. So it was just like, wow, if Fuzzy Wraps can do it, what else can do it? And, but out of college, even with this background and experience, I went the corporate route. I think probably in my mind, the safer route, I guess you could say. I got an amazing opportunity to work for IBM in their global business consulting sector. And who could pass that up? Right out of college, I got to travel all over the country, working and helping different financial services, banking, insurance institutions. I actually worked on projects managing from back office technology implementations to process offshoring, to developing and implementing program management offices. So lots of just very diverse experience. And that's where I found my niche in the governance and program management field. And that's the field I am currently working in today in my corporate career. But I feel like, with all that being said, when I started to have kids, my perspective shifted. And with my job, I used to have to travel like weekly, Monday through Thursday, pretty much all over the world. And yes, it was great, but, and luckily I don't have to travel a lot now, but at the time it was just too much. And I knew I wanted something more, I knew I wanted to start my own company. So I really started thinking about, what would that be? What would it look like? And I had no clue. I had no clue what I wanted to do. I had no clue what business I wanted to run. And I'd be like, maybe this is a good idea, as I would think of things. And my husband, love him, has a million and one ideas. And I've heard there's always the wow person in every relationship and the how person.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely the wow person. So he had, gosh, so many ideas. He'd be like, let's do this. Like, I think his last one, he wanted to buy a laundromat. And I'm like, okay, let's regroup and think for a second here. And does that really make sense or not? And yeah, and he's wonderful. So I kind of bring him back down to reality. But yeah, so it just for years, I wasn't sure, to be honest, what I wanted to do. I really, nothing clicked for me. Like yes, we would think of things, but nothing resonated with me yet. So that's kind of my background before Smell Sweet. But yeah, I was just a lot of entrepreneurial, a lot of corporate jobs, but nothing that really lit my fire.
I love that. And I love that your husband's totally on board, because I know a lot of women struggle with that. And it makes having a support team makes such a difference, especially in the beginning stages, because that's when like all the self-doubt starts to creep in. That's when all of the fears and the am I good enough, and all the what ifs start to creep in. So I think that that's so incredible. And I think that I can totally relate, because my husband is very much like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, wait. Let me see how, I'm the you.
Yes. I swear, it's like every relationship for the most part.
Yeah. I remember I was listening to one of the Dave Ramsey books, and he's always there, talking about how in most couples, there's usually the spender and the saver, and I feel like this is kind of similar to that. So
absolutely.
Tell me what kind, even with the support system kind of built in, tell me what kind of obstacles you felt like you faced as you got going with this and as these ideas started to become reality.
Absolutely. So, really, when I started, I didn't know if it was a viable option. So I was scared, right? You have fear. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to begin. There's lots of everything that just says, okay, yeah, you might want your own business, but what does that mean? And what does that look like?
Right.
And like I said, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, but I didn't quite know what it was going to be. And, one day I was just walking actually down the aisle of one of my favorite places ever, Target. And I was trying to pick out a new deodorant, and every deodorant, and I mean, for years I've tried this, but it just clicked this one time. But because every deodorant that I picked up had ingredients I couldn't even pronounce, even the ones that read natural on the label. Mm-hmm. And I've always thought of myself, as a pretty smart woman who can make good, educated decisions, but I didn't know how to make an informed decision when it came to many of the products I put on my body. And so I started wondering if other women were struggling this as well. So that's kind of how like the idea started in my head, but still like obviously fear and like imposter syndrome creeps up. Even with my background, you still second guess everything. And so I just started to think, okay, well, let's just ask people, right? So I talked to my friends, my community, all the women in my community and beyond, and asked a lot of questions, pretty much anyone willing to talk to me. I just asked in Facebook groups and with social media nowadays, it's just wonderful. You can touch so many people in so many different parts of the world and the nation, and just get their feelings, right? And I just ask simple questions like, what deodorant or antiperspirant do you use? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Do you read their ingredient labels? Do you understand them? And, do you even care, right? Is it even something you care about? And the overwhelming response was, I care, but I don't know what is and what isn't good for me. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, I don't know. It just came over me and I thought, okay, if I could make being toxin-free easier, right, when purchasing a product, maybe I'm onto something. And that's when I really started a lot of research. I spent at least 3 months researching ingredients in deodorant, ingredients in body products, what they mean, what they don't mean, why companies use them, where they cut corners, really what's safe and what isn't. And for the most part, became a sort of expert in this field. And I just felt so passionately about it, especially because I've always been cognizant of more along the lines of what we put in our bodies. But I think the general trend now is also what's good for being put on our bodies. People don't necessarily think that through, like, okay, yes, I care about what goes on in my body, but what about on it? And I think that shift is changing. I think there's a movement going on where people are being more cognizant, like you said in the beginning, about what goes on their bodies, especially near their breast tissue or their lymph nodes or just other places like that. So, and I tried to figure out, becoming an expert was step one for getting over my fear and just talking to people to see if it was even viable. Like, capital wasn't my fear, all that. It was, are people going to like it or are people going to even buy it, right? You don't want to do anything if you're not going to really make money. If you love it, great, but then it's just a little hobby. It's not a business. So getting over that was really important. And seeing everyone, literally so many people I talked to were just like, wow, yes, but like, I don't know where to begin. And so that's when I started thinking about getting a USDA certified organic product. So what the USDA is, the United States Department of Agriculture, and they basically have very high standards for quality assurance. So not just the product and the label, but the actual facility where products are manufactured are very high standards for production. So for them to certify something organic, it ticks a lot of checklists. And I was like, okay, if I can create a product that has this seal, this will make women, my customers, know for sure that this is toxin free. They don't have to question. They don't have to read the ingredient labels on the back and know what they mean, because they'll know that it's truly organic. So that's where, that my USDA certified organic came into about. And I knew doing so, I could help take the worry and unknown feeling out of the customer's mind. So it really originated out of a void in my life around products that were available and like where I saw a need for me and just was like, wow, other people have this need as well.
Absolutely. And I think you're spot on, because I will tell you that I have probably tried over a dozen quote unquote aluminum free deodorants, and most of them don't even work. And then I did the same thing. I was looking at Target because, all of us moms, we love our Target, our coffee and our Target. I was looking there and there was one and it was like, oh yeah, natural, all natural, aluminum free, blah, blah, blah. So I grabbed it, not even thinking. And then I got home and I'm like, oh, it still has fragrance in it. And it's, and I'm just like, oh, great. I just wasted like $9 because, and then, you put it on, I'm like, ooh, it's like slimy. And then you see like all the ads and you're kind of, because a lot of them are, baking soda or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. But then you see all the ads about like, oh, get rid of, like the white stuff on your black shirt and use this spray. And you're like, oh, it must be aluminum free, the spray, right? Nope. I've not ever yet seen just a standard over-the-counter spray that was free that you could buy at a store.
Yeah. And, again, you're so knowledgeable and I love this. I love talking to you because fragrance is a huge one that people think, fragrance is great for flowers, but not in your body products. It can contain 3,000 plus stock chemical ingredients, including hormone disruptors, allergens, and it's actually protected under trade secrets. So therefore, what is in it can remain undisclosed. And so people see that one little term and it says fragrance. It doesn't even have an S at the end. And they don't realize how bad that one term could be for you. And they shouldn't have to. You know what I mean? Like it drives me crazy how even the natural, quote unquote, natural, like you were talking about, brands aren't really as ethical because they do have fragrance. It's like, wow, like people shouldn't have to know. Like we should be able to make informed, educated decisions and be able to trust the companies that we buy products for. And unfortunately, it's not always the case. And it's disheartening, but that's one, reason why I pushed through. So.
Yeah. And, it's like, how do you know if you're allergic to something if it doesn't tell you what it actually even is?
Right. It's exactly. And so for me, that was a big thing too, because baking soda personally, I think is wonderful. It's very deodorizing and it's absorbent, obviously. So that is in my deodorants, but some people have super sensitive skin. It actually has to do with their pH. But I do offer a baking soda free. I feel like you need options for people because like you said, everyone's different. Like even the scents, which are organic essential oils, and mine, they're different because even scents can impact people. It's just crazy like how something you could put on your skin is so different for every person. And another thing I really wanted to do, and I give this advice to people when they ask me about product-based businesses is I try to make the transition for people easier because, a lot of people might say, oh, my deodorant is fine, but I want to make this change, right? They may not know a lot about it, but they want it. So I didn't want to do a spray. I didn't want to do it like in a jar where people use their fingers. Like I tried to make my packaging as used to, the existing drugstore brands as possible. Right. Just, like change is hard, especially for something that you actually might need to go through like a detoxification process. So little things like that, like when people are developing products, I think it's really important for them to just, if there is a transition, if there is a change from their normal day to day, to try to make it as at least feel and look and like their current existing product that they're using. Obviously, better, higher ingredients are in mine and way safer. But just the look, the feel, the absorbency, all of that is very similar to their current one. It's just mine's toxin free.
And that's a good thing. So yeah, but yes, definitely that, some people have allergic reactions to even essential oils because, it's still a flower, it's still a fruit, it's still a bark, it's still things that naturally occur in nature that some people are just allergic to. And, like some people are allergic to, say, a eucalyptus tree and they can't live in the area that I live because they're all over our town.
Oh, wow.
They wouldn't want to wear a deodorant that had eucalyptus oil in it. And, it just makes sense when you think about it. But the problem is that, if you don't know, because it's all masked under natural fragrances or, like even going beyond deodorant into natural flavors and that kind of stuff, it's kind of like, oh, okay. And you just don't know. You don't know what to avoid the next time. You don't know if it's like, okay, try this kind or, it's so hard.
So hard. And it shouldn't be. And it's like mind blowing how hard it is. Really, honestly. Right. I just want a toxin free, body products that work.
Yes.
All right. But
that's exactly right. Tell us a little bit. I know you guys have like a prep mask. Tell us a little bit about the process of using a natural deodorant and going from, I know we weren't planning to talk about this, but drugstore deodorant that's full of perfumes and chemicals and aluminum. And you guys, if you don't know about aluminum and why it's a bad thing, just Google it. Aluminum's a heavy metal, and so it's not a good thing.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah. So So I always say, when we consider all the toxins our body may be exposed to, it's imperative, to make changes in the areas you have control over. So, we often don't consider how the simple swipe of deodorant on your underarms can be so detrimental to your health. But it's also not the easiest transition for some people. So maybe they get over to say, okay, I realize I can make changes. This is something I have control over. It's a simple change, especially if they use my company, it gets shipped to you, right?
Right.
Super easy. You don't have to go anywhere. But it may still be a difficult process for people. And it stinks, right? Like, not stinks, right?
I love it.
You smell good, but using something that is good for you is not always easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
So you're exactly right. We created a prep suite line. So we have Smell Sweet deodorant, Prep Suite, which is our detox mask and scrubs, and Pucker Suite, which is our USDA certified organic lip balm. But it was really important to me, and it's about educating people around prepping and detoxifying their underarms. So this helps you get rid of the chemicals, dead skin cells, other products that have built up, especially, right, if you previously used, like you said, an antiperspirant, which uses aluminum which is a heavy metal. So that clogs your pores, and so your body cannot naturally sweat, which creates an overproduction of bad bacteria, which is disgusting. And that's why you actually smell. It actually makes you smell more, so you use more. Of course, they get you that way, right? So our Prep Suite line was very important to me. So we have a detoxify mask, which uses activated charcoal, kaolin, bentonite clay, and it's really to remove the dead skin buildup, and usually use it in parallel. Even after you transition to an organic deodorant, it just really helps with long-term success, and it purges, it lets your underarms breathe. And I was actually talking to someone on Instagram recently, a couple days ago, and they're like, this is mind-blowing to me. Like they're like, they use it on their face, masks on their face, but they never thought of their underarms. I'm like, yes, it's still your skin, especially where you sweat, like you want to get all that guck and the bacteria that builds up out, and it will really help the longevity of using an organic deodorant, or any deodorant for that matter. And another thing about making it easy was you can make your own, and I'm happy for people to make their own. Like, that's great. You can get bentonite clay, you can get apple cider vinegar. There's recipes out there, but I don't want to make my own. You know what I mean? Like
that's time for that.
Right? So literally mine, all you do is add water, because that's what I have time for. So and my customers, I get in the shower, I put some under my underarms, rub it in at the beginning of my shower, rinse it off at the end. That's it. And I do it probably like 3 times a week.
Oh, that's not bad at all. And it looks like, so obviously it's also soap free, like detergent free.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yep. It's literally just clays and activated charcoal. And it has some botanicals that just, an organic rice flour that like soothes the skin and fortifies. And it's because I also wanted it as a facial mask so people can use it longer, to use as a facial mask. And I've had such good reviews from it, as people using it even though it wasn't originally intended for it, such good reviews with people using it as a facial mask, because they can double, dip into this one product, and they're like, my pores are smaller, my skin is clearer. I'm like, I know, it's amazing. It's amazing ingredients. And when you use great ingredients, it's really going to help out your skin, whether you use it on your face or your underarms. So, and just add water, easy peasy. Who's going to mix apple cider vinegar? Some people maybe go for it, but I just add water.
So for me, I keep my apple cider vinegar in the kitchen. So
there you go.
Like, in my bedroom, so my house isn't like massive or anything, but just the idea of like being in my bathroom, getting ready to get in the shower, or having just gotten out, like thinking like, oh, I should walk all the way across the house to the kitchen. This sounds like super lazy, but I think most of us probably realize it's not like ideal. And then by the time I make it to the kitchen, I've forgotten why I walked out there in the first place. So yeah, having it all in one place makes a difference.
No, it's so true. And like, and that's one thing. If you just make it easier for people, as you said, then they'll use it and they'll get the benefits. Like my goal is, obviously to sell product, but it's to like help people in this transition. And however I can do it to make it the easiest way possible, I'm happy with. So whether they make their own or use mine, I just wanted to make it really easy for people, and they need to detoxify. So that's number one.
Yes.
However you do it.
I love that. So I know we were going to talk a little bit too, because I could definitely, I totally geek out about all things like non-toxic and essential.
I know, I love it.
And so I could talk to you all day about this. But I did want to talk about your top tips for launching a product, because I know so many people, they have so many great ideas, but then that whole intimidation factor kind of comes in, and they're like, oh, holy crap, I don't know what to do. There's so many moving parts, and and it's just like, okay, forget it. And then that overwhelm sets in, and then they just kind of scrap the whole idea to begin, that they could really be making some really good impact with.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have lots of tips. I've been through it. So I'm happy to talk about it because it's exciting. Like you said, people have a dream, and have this goal, and then there's like, oh crap, now what? So as much as I can talk about tips, I will to anyone who ever wants to talk to me. I'm happy to. So I would say, I probably have, I have a lot, but my top 3 tips for launching a product-based business are, number 1 is always protect your margins. So people, and that's in anything, but especially a product business where you have, labels and jars maybe and shipping and, bubble wrap and insert cards and shred tissue and, credit card fees. I could go on and on and on. They just are very excited, which is great, but they don't necessarily figure out their margins.
Right.
And it's very important. You want to do that. I have a spreadsheet that I keep for all my products. And it's really cool too, because you can change stuff, or you can say, okay, how much, with a 10% off promo due to my margin, or a 20% off promo, or 15%, you can see that really easily, but you have to put the work in and think it through and really say, okay, every little thing that my business touches, I do really cost of goods sold and expenses. I don't consider like all my advertising and all that part of it. It's more just really the cost of the product itself, including shipping and everything. That's what I do. And what you want to do is I strongly recommend to aim in a product-based business for about a 35% profit margin. Obviously 40 to 50 is better. But 35 is good. I would say aim for 35. Also, you can go lower if you have like incentive to. So for example, for my subscription options, I do have a lower profit margin, okay? Because I offer products at a lower cost point.
Yep.
And also free US shipping, but that's to entice my customers to subscribe, right? So my profit margins are lower, but I'll have from them, sales in a couple months or whatever frequency they choose. So the consistency in orders is worth it, sometimes for a lower profit margin. I also offer bundled products. So I suggest people to think through this as well, where, for example, like my deodorant and my detoxify mask only come together via subscription. They can buy them separately in my e-commerce shop, but I only bundle some things together via subscription, because bundling them together allows me to like work my margins in order to pass the discount on to my subscription customers, and then also provide them with free shipping. So it's really a big benefit to them, but it allows me to do it so I'm still able to protect my margins and know I'll have continued orders from the majority of my subscription customers. So, think about bundling and then always protect your margins. I would say, 35% is good. Obviously, higher the better, but there's wiggle room. But you need to think through all your expenses.
Yes. And you can always adjust. So you can kind
Absolutely.
of target for, say, the 35%. And then if you're like, oh, I ended up using a little bit less of this or a little bit more of that, you can kind of be like, all right, this is where I need to do some shopping or maybe some negotiating with the vendor or whatever.
Absolutely.
And get to your target number.
Right. And as you scale, like too, things may change. But that's exactly right. And it's just very important. So that's my, one of my key tips. The other one is for a product-based business, especially an e-commerce one, is to choose your e-commerce platform early on. So not all systems offer the same functionality. So, do your research, define the needs for your business, and compare what those platforms can provide. So I chose Shopify, which a lot of e-commerce based business are moving towards. And this is a cloud-based SaaS, which stands for software as a service shopping cart solution. So I pay, a monthly fee, obviously. I enter my store data. It's basically my website or storefront for my company. So I can add products. It processes all my orders. And Shopify is really great. But one of the things that's wonderful about it is an integration with so many applications. So it syncs with, my email management system, my subscription system. So it doesn't have its own subscription system, but it has many applications that it links with in order to process subscription orders. Also my shipping application. So I use Pirate Ship. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
I haven't.
Pirate Ship is wonderful. Every person needs to use it that's using e-commerce. You will get the lowest discounted shipping prices for the U.S. Postal Service. I also ship to Canada through it. I ship to both the U.S. and Canada, and you'll get the discounted prices from Pirate Ship. Check out Pirate Ship, everybody.
Ooh, that's great.
It is the best shipping application that I found. And I did a lot of research. So big tip there. So that's the great thing about Shopify, is it syncs with everything. And it's on my computer, it's on my phone. It's so easy. All my orders pop up. I literally go to Pirate Ship. I hit import from Shopify and it imports everything. And then it clears all my orders once I, print my shipping labels. It's all integrated with a click of a button. And that's what's amazing for people these days is, yes, you need some knowledge, but a little bit of research can go such a long way in today's day and age. And it's just the software and technology that's available, I think, can really help anybody. Literally, I set it all up myself. I don't have a huge website background, but if you go to my website and look at it, I did that myself. Anyone can do it themselves. Just take some time and obviously to figure it out. But everything is synced. It's all applications and integrations with Shopify.
Oh, that makes it so easy. I love automation and syncing and all the things.
I love it. Just click a button. Except, oh my gosh, I don't know how much time we have, but a quick story is the 10th hour, of course, not the 10th, whatever, what do you say, the 23rd hour, whenever the late hour is that you're supposed to say in that analogy. I decided right before I was going to launch my website, I'm like, okay, I want to put on a review ability so people could go on and do reviews. So that I think that's a great thing for people to see, and then it promotes other people to say, okay, this person likes it. It definitely helps, especially in e-commerce. And so I decided literally 2 hours before I was going to launch that I was going to input Judge Me, which is an application that syncs with Shopify, another great one, which I'm going to do eventually because it's a wonderful application. So Judge Me if you want reviews on your website. It is very good, and they systematically send those to your customers who have purchased, so you can get people who have already purchased reviewing. So it's wonderful. So So judge me, but I decided to press a button and say, okay, I'm going to implement it now. And then I was like, oh crap, I'm going to have to do some customization, right? And I'm like, I don't have time for this. Believe that I did that right before I was going to launch. So everyone gets a little crazy, I guess, before they're going to launch. So if you do something crazy, it's okay. So literally I was just like, oh my gosh. And I just tried to delete all the code possible, but they were so wonderful. It was probably 10:30 at night. I'm not sure where they're based, but they talked me through taking out all my code.
Oh my goodness.
I know it was so scary, but it's a learning thing. Do not make a quick decision right before you're going to launch. I don't know what I was thinking, but eventually I do want to put judge me in, but note to self, everybody, just launch and you can always improve as you go. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Perfectionism is sometimes debilitating. Just get through it and don't change it right before you're going to launch. And then my last, or well, I can do more, but my third tip is to do a pre-launch. This is probably one of the most important things I could ever tell somebody for a product-based business. And this was told to me by someone who started their own product-based business as well. It's amazing. So what you do is a pre-launch is very important. And really the only thing that you're looking for is to grow your email list. Okay. So you can determine your incentive. So you can use, a discount code or free product or early bird pricing, or, I did 3 free boxes, and a discount code for mine. But what you're doing is creating a very simple landing page. So this is before your website's up. This is before you launch. This is pre-launch. So this is why you're still maybe even developing your product, because I was still developing my product and doing my pre-launch. So what I used in the beginning was called Kickoff Labs. Basically, it's just a really simple one-page site. And again, your only goal is to collect email leads. So at the time, I didn't connect it to social media. You don't offer any information, excessive information on pricing. It's really just to get your target customer interested in order to leave their email address. So you just want to use images, right? Be brief, clear, easy to understand messaging, and sync it to your whatever you use. You can use MailChimp. I use Clavio for my email system. But and what you do is it really helps. It helps you first see if you have a viable product, right? Because if you're not getting anyone too interested, you're not going to have sales. So I said, to me personally, everyone's different, but I said, okay, I want 50 orders. So I knew in my head I needed 500 emails, email leads, because usually the conversion rate is about 10%.
Right.
So 10% of your emails will buy your product, email leads. So I just knew that. So I began by that. So I used Kickoff Labs, and Kickoff Labs I didn't love. Like, it didn't work for me as much as some other people. So I actually was doing pretty good in my email leads, but I transitioned to Viper, which I know a lot of people use for giveaways, even for service-based businesses as well. But Viper was really great too. So what I did is, for that one, it allows sharing incentives, which is huge for leads, right? So for every say person who shares my landing page and someone signs up with their email list, they'll get 50 points or get 50 entries. So the more you share, the more and I also liked our social media pages and like our Facebook pages, or follow us, and they get points for all sorts of different things they could do. And that blew up my email list.
Nice.
So, yes. So Viper was the thing. It really worked because it gave them options to say, okay, it wasn't just adding your email and getting something, it was adding your email, earning points to get more stuff, right? So it really incentivized them to share. And that I might even do another, I suggest to do it as a pre-launch, but I might even do another one via Viper just now, right? You can continually do it to grow your email list, but definitely do it as a pre-launch. And what also is good is you're bringing them along for the journey. So, I would ask them, you'd have them in your email. That's huge. You have your potential target market's email, right? Before you even have a product, in some cases. So you can get their feedback. Like, what kind of scents do you like? What kind of smells do you like? What do you like? Creamy, smooth deodorant? You like it a little hard? It's just like so many questions you can get and give them points if they answer. And you're also bringing them along for your journey. So I had a really high conversion rate. So I had over the 10%. I had close to 25%, which is crazy high. And I think a lot because I brought them along for the journey. I asked them questions. I changed some of my products based off of their feedback. So I was delivering to them what they wanted. So pre-launch, please, everybody who's doing a product-based business, so important.
Yes. And is that Viper Digital Marketing?
I don't know what it's called. It's just called Viper. I just type in Viper and it's awesome. And then it allows you to keep your account for like $5 a month. So I'm not using it right now, but I'm still going to keep it because I want to do another one.
That's incredible.
It's like, I'm not sure how much it is a month. If you're running your campaign, it might be like $30.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. So yes, but I know a lot of people have kickoff labs too that might be a little bit cheaper. I just found like the functionality not as intuitive, and I need a little bit more intuitive for me because I'm doing a lot myself.
Right.
So Viper was just a better choice for me personally.
I love that. And see, you guys, there's so many different resources out there. As long as you stay networked and I didn't know about Viper because that wasn't something that I've used before, but now I'm definitely going to look into it. But
so easy and so good. And I just love how you can just give people options to continue to share.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So awesome. Okay. And I know that you set up a little code for everybody. Do you want to tell us about that? I have the code is Moms Making Money 15. So Moms Making Money 15.
Yes. And that will get 15% off your entire order. So no matter if you just purchase from my e-commerce shop or subscribe, either way, the code will be set up and ready for you to try it out.
Awesome. Now, the most important question of the day, where can everybody find you in all the places?
Okay. So on our website is smellsweetcompany.com. We're also on Facebook, Smell Sweet Company, and same thing on Instagram at Smell Sweet Company. So it's all basically the same, Smell Sweet Company. And our Instagram, I really love it. I actually spend a lot of time on it. So if you're communicating on it, it may be me on it. Yes, I really love talking. I just love talking to my customers or potential customers. And it's just really a bright, light, fun page. I just wanted to make a super fun, feminine, upscale, elevated product line. And my Instagram definitely exudes that. So yeah, join, talk. I love hearing feedback. Positive or constructive, I love it. So check us out.
Awesome. Yes, definitely check them out. Be sure if you guys want to give this stuff a try, which I highly recommend, you use that coupon code. That'll let her know that you heard about it here, and it'll give you guys a little bit of extra change in your pocket, or possibly even help you guys get more product on your doorstep. So thank you so much, Rachel, for such a fun, like I said, I could totally nerd out about all things non-toxic all day. So for me, I loved it. But thank you for hopping on and joining us today.
This has been wonderful. It really was a wonderful conversation. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. Also, if you loved this conversation, feel free to leave a review for Rachel here on the right on the show notes. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time.